Hello, everyone. My name is Errol Jackson, and I'm an implementation consultant with Phreesia. And today we're going to do an overview of the Phreesia dashboard and take you through a Phreesia pad interview. Just to give you some background information, Phreesia is a check-in company. We facilitate organizations with a check-in process so we can gather updated information on our patients and also facilitate the cash flow by gathering past due balances and copay. We'll also digitize your forms that your patients sign at check-in, like their demographics, HIPAA, and financial policy. So to start off, I'm just going to go over the Phreesia dashboard and give you some background on how it's laid out. As you can see, the Phreesia dashboard is divided into three sections. It has a pre-register section, which will contain all of the appointments that were uploaded from your Allscripts PM for that current day. We have registration in progress, which will contain all of the patients that are currently going through a Phreesia pad interview. Once the patient is done with the interview, they'll be in the checked-in section. Over to your right, we have a few task pane options. You can see the date section where you can indicate which day you're currently on, and you can go back and reference any past appointments and check-ins. You'll also see a drop-down list for your location. Depending on where you're working, you will see a location that is available for you to select. You can search for the location, and you can use the scroll bar to select. We also have a summary for today's activity, what collections and balances due. And right here we have the collection section that will also allow you to view your reconciliation report. All right. I'm going to skip back into the pre-register section and talk about some of the filters and different options we can use. So the first column we have is patient name. As you can see, we have several test patients to demo the Phreesia pad on today. All of these names can be filtered by using the search option right here. So if I want to type in Adrienne Test, I would just type in her name. Okay. So when a patient comes in, it'll be easier for you just to search for their name right here. We also have a date of birth column, so we can sort by date of birth. We also have a separate column for notes and flags. The note icon will be utilized to communicate any patient balances or any patient account activity that needs to be monitored or checked in on by a manager. The flag column will be used to indicate if a patient needs to have an updated insurance card on file. All right. We'll have the physician and provider column. You'll also be able to reference the appointment time. These past three columns can be filtered by clicking on the taskbar or the title bar. So you can see the appointments are changing. The next two columns, we're going to reference our eligibility and benefits module. Once the appointments are uploaded onto the Phreesia dashboard, you'll be able to reference this section so you can run real-time eligibility. Okay? This will be done by clicking in the upper right-hand corner where it says Category Menu, and it has Send EMB for all patients. Once this option is selected, it will process real-time, and you'll start getting results back. Due to HIPAA purposes, I won't be able to show any real live patients, but you'll see a series of icons listed right here. Okay? And during detailed training, we'll go over what each icon means. For quick reference, there's a help and training module. If you go in here, there is an eligibility and benefit status. And it will indicate all the different icons and what next steps are. Okay. The next couple of columns include the paid and a balance column. The paid column will be populated once a patient makes a payment in the checked-in section. And the balance column is going to indicate any balances that the patient may have on file, whether it's a copay and or a real live balance, okay, on account. Before I get into a Phreesia Pad interview, I do want to review the workflow document that's going to be available on your intranet. This is the Phreesia dashboard and pad workflow, and it will be referenced throughout your training, and also if you have any questions on how the process is going to be state. Okay. So it's broken down to appointments when they're uploaded, and also what data passes back and forth between each system. Okay. All appointments are going to be entered in Allscripts PM, and they're going to flow onto the dashboard. Okay. The appointment load is going to occur 3 days prior or 3 days out. Any add-ons should appear on the dashboard within 2 minutes. So for any patients that walk in and you add their appointment to Allscripts, that appointment should be available on the dashboard within 2 to 3 minutes. Right here is a listing of all the data elements that will import into Phreesia from Allscripts. Okay. We'll continue to utilize fee tickets, and the manager will review the dashboard for past due balances. Okay. A few other tasks. The morning of the appointment, the medical receptionist, you will run the E&B for add-ons on the previous day. You'll review the results, and you'll also review and verify the appointments and balances. So the morning of, you'll do a spot check of all of your patients. You'll review the flags and any notes that are indicated. You'll review the copays and the eligibility and benefits, and you'll reference the balances. Okay. Now we'll prepare to check a patient in. So patient comes in, you verbally confirm their name and appointment time. As protocol, you'll validate that their insurance is current with the red flag. And at this point, once you get a scan of their new insurance card, if it's indicated by the red flag, you are going to obtain a Phreesia Pad. I'm going to pull up my remote control software, and I'll take you through an interview. You'll type in the practice pin. And you'll reference the patient from the dashboard. I'm sorry, from the pad. And we have 2 interviews. We have FPCA copay for regular office visits, and we have an FPCA no copay. This will be for well visits and physical, so it will suppress the copay option. Okay. So I'm going to choose FPCA copay. After you select this option, you are going to hand the pad to the patient, and you will say something to the effect of, "Hello, Lily, this is our new electronic registration. It's going to take you through a few questions. If you get stuck or have any questions, please come see me." You'll hand the pad to the patient and just politely ask them to go sit down and complete the pad. All right. This is the screen that the patient will receive during the interview. Okay. So today we'll ask you to enter your demographic and insurance information, complete and review your medical information, swipe your credit card if you have a copay or balance, and review educational content that we've gathered for you. The patient will get a date of birth confirmation just to make sure that they are who they say they are. Okay. Now, this patient is an established patient. So they've gone through an interview previously and they filled in some of the individual questions. For returning patients, they'll typically get this review screen. So you can see all their demographics have been updated. If they need to make an update to anything, let's say they want to change their marital status, they'll click on Edit and they'll select the appropriate response and it will update right here. If they wanted to update a phone number per se, let's say their cell phone number, they click on Edit and click on the appropriate response. Okay. Email. Right. So the patient will get this review screen and just ensure that everything is up to date. So contact information and their basic demographics. Once they're done with this screen, they'll select Continue, and they'll validate their emergency contact information. Okay. They can also indicate how they heard about the practice. So I'm going to update that and change it to I'm a returning patient. Okay. Other sections of the interview include bill a responsible party. Okay. Now this question is going to ask them about their insurance, and it's going to ask them to review what's currently on file. All right. So currently they have State Farm with a policy ID number, and they also have Aetna Secondary. If a patient wanted to update their secondary insurance, they can click on Edit and choose from one of the options listed right here on the pad. So I'm going to say they have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I'm going to update my policy information. And select Continue. Okay. It will also ask if there's anybody they wish to have Frederick Primary Care share their information with. You can select yes and enter that individual's information. And we'll enter in the phone number. And then we'll indicate the relationship. Okay. And then you'll also indicate what information that Frederick can share with this person. And we'll indicate there's no one else. And then we'll select Continue. And then we'll get to the review screen. Okay. And if you notice, check in progress. We're almost done. All right. So this patient has $100. All right. So I'm going to select continue. We also have the option for patients to self-enroll themselves into a payment plan. And so if they have a balance that they can't pay at the time of visit, they can break it out to monthly installments. Right here, it's divided out into the credit card, cash, and check section. Payment plans can only be set up through credit card for the automatic deduction. Okay. So here are the options that will be presented to the patient. But we're going to go through and just indicate that they're going to pay cash, full payment today, and we'll take that payment from the dashboard. Okay. So at this point, the patient is done with the interview, and for the next few minutes, they can sit down and read some Phreesia's health information portal. But if not, they can click on exit in the upper right-hand corner. And at this point, the patient will take the pad and return it to the front desk. All right. So I'm going to reference my dashboard. But before I do, this section right here is going to indicate all of the items that interface back into Allscripts. Okay. So name changes all the way down to cell phone will populate those fields in PM. Balance payments and co-payments will go across into PM as an unassigned payment. It will create a batch for each location. Policies and agreements, if they're signed on the pad, will go across as a TIF attachment into your Pro EHR. Okay. You can see now that Lily Test is checked in. Over to the right, we see that she shows a balance. I'm going to click on the balance. And it's very important that we check what the patient owes for this visit. If there's already a charge right here and it's valid, we don't need to add an additional charge right here. Okay. So the patient is not able to pay for $500 today, but they can pay a partial balance. So I'm going to click on cash right here under collect payment option. We can do credit card, cash, or check. I'm going to select cash. I'm going to click on the collect partial payment, and I'm going to indicate how much I'm going to pay today. So I'm going to say I'll pay $25 on my account and select save, and it broke out into a $25 and $475 line. I'll click on the 25. You can see my total changed. The patient also has the option to email the receipt to themselves. Okay, so if you check this box, the receipt will be suppressed and it will go electronically. I'm going to select confirm cash payment, and I'm going to print the receipt to screen so you can see what it looks like. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to spend the next couple of minutes discussing the reconciliation process. So at the end of each shift, each person will collect their cash, credit card, and check, and they're going to submit it to their manager and print out the reconciliation report for that shift. All right. To reference reconciliation report in Phreesia, you'll click on this link, View Reconciliation Report. You'll select your respective location and your username. Okay. Once you apply those filters, you'll see the collection summary and the end-of-day details. The credit cards are divided into MasterCard, Visa, American Express, and Discover with a summary right here. Then we have a collection of cash, and we have a summary of check. Right. Right below, we have the end-of-day details, and we'll list out every transaction that was taken. So here's our transaction for Lily Test for $25. You can right-click and print the reconciliation report along with your receipts and your cash and check, and you will submit that to your manager at every shift, at the end of every shift. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for joining the training, and I wish you the best with your Phreesia Go Live.
Okay.